The iiRcade, or I guess it's the iiRcade, double iiRcade, whatever it's called. A lot of you guys have been hitting me up over the past few months about this thing, like, hey, you're going to talk about it, you're going to check it out, you're going to get one. And I never really bothered digging into it. I was just like, what's the iiRcade? Because a bunch of people were just like, have you seen this? Have you seen this? And I didn't know what the heck it was, right? So recently I dug into it a little bit because I saw something they did that just was hilarious to me. And I wanted to talk about it a bit. But this was a Kickstarter. The Kickstarter is already over. Bar top or, mini arcade machine with the stand and all that kind of stuff. Just however you paid for it. But a little different than some of the other ones that are out there right now. It doesn't look horrible, in my opinion. I'm not here to knock this device, but you get a handful of games, then you got to pay for everything else, right? If you want additional games, you got to support them developers. Well, you're supporting the iiRcade too, because they got to make their money, right? They wouldn't be in this just for the developers, would they? No, they're in it to make some monies, right? So I started digging through their website, wound up going on their Facebook page. I'm going to get into that in a moment, but they got a lot of retro stuff here. They got a deal with Sega going on. Looks like a lot of the games that are going to be on the Astro City Mini, are gonna be on this iiRcade. But yeah, I mean, it looks okay. I can't knock the device. The price, I don't know. The Kickstarter, it seemed like you got in earlier. It was a pretty decent price, that kind of thing. But yeah, I mean, not something I'm going to jump into. Not something I'm going to jump into. 61 inches high, 20 inches wide. So fairly close to Arcade 1-Up with a riser, or that MVS X, the Neo Geo with the riser on that thing. I know we've been talking about that a lot lately. Still got a lot more information to find out on that thing. But yeah, see, they had a bar top console, $600, but the early bird was $300. I always question that, half price on a Kickstarter. I just don't trust Kickstarters because I've been burned so many times. I don't know these people, you know what I mean? Look at this. Look at this dude right here in that Nike shirt. Oh, snap. Look at them, man. Look at those two little kids all scrunched up. That's to speak to a lot of these bar tops, man. They can be kind of a pain in the ass to play two players. These are kids. That's like a teenager and a younger girl there. And he's just like, oh, snap. Because he's whooping her ass because he's got his elbow up in her side. You know what I mean? And then this dude right here in that pool, looking all Smash JT in that jacuzzi with the bar top right there. Boom! You know what I'm saying? Who the fuck puts a bar top at the edge of their pool? What the heck? I don't know. Interesting stuff, but led me to their Facebook page. And I stay away from this kind of stuff because here's the thing. I do have my own Facebook group, and I don't spend a lot of time on Facebook, but there's a lot of these pages for stuff like this where it's just nuts, dude. I don't want no part of it. There's the two extremes, right? And I've already said, I'm not knocking this system. I just find some things funny. It does look pretty legit in my eyes for that Arcade 1-Up style, but taking it to a whole different level, right? But a lot of these things out there, these groups or these pages, you'll have both extremes. You'll have the fanboys who just love to lick and suck that taint. And then you'll have the people who just mindlessly knock stuff this is crap, and they don't give a reason why, right? I'm sure you guys know a lot of people like that. I've knocked things, but I'll have my reasons for it. Some people, they'll just knock things and have no reason, you know what I mean? And not be level-headed. I like to try to, if I have something negative to say, it's got to come from somewhere, you know what I mean? And I don't really have anything to knock with this other than some things that they've said, but yeah, you got those two extremes, and I just try not to intermingle with that kind of stuff. A lot of times what you'll have is YouTubers who are just slobbering all over that stuff, that, so over ecstatic and excited over everything because it's they're hoping to get free shit, you know what I mean? And hey, more power to them. Do you. I'm going to do me and just be honest with everything. But, a lot of those people, I just try to stay away from them because shit's not all rainbows and unicorns. You know what I mean? But some of these people, it's just, man, how can you sleep at night licking all those taints? You know what I mean? So I stay away from that stuff. That's why it's taken me so long to talk about this iiRcade, right? Now, I don't want to scroll through this because I don't want to go through everybody's posts that are in there. But what I want to look at is a couple things that they have posted. And I find this crap hilarious. So this is the angle that they're taking. They have another post that's even more funny than this. Why pirating is bad, okay? It can introduce your system to malware. Oh, you get that malwares, dude. Better be careful. Don't pirate your games. Buy the iiRcade, right? Pirating video games is illegal and can result in lawsuits. Why you got to be trying to scare people? You know what I mean? But okay, I mean, the points that they're making, for the, you know, some of them may be true, but they're just like the extremes. You know what I mean? Developers deserve the funding for their hard work. That's true. I 100% agree with that. But then at the same time, I've seen plenty of arguments like, hey, you know, okay, so we buy this old classic game that I owned 30 years ago, and I can't, you know, I don't have access to it anymore because, you know, it was on an old console. I don't have it anymore, whatever, right? That's on you. You don't have it anymore. You want to play it another way, so you download it, pop it on a Raspberry Pi, on your PC, on your microwave, whatever you want, and you just play that old game. A lot of times, the argument is that, like, you know, hey, that developer should be getting paid for that. Well, they already did get paid for it, right? The initial time that it came out. And if it's released again, licensed in some way, that original developer is not always going to be getting a piece of that. The people who worked on it are not going to be getting a piece of that. You know, there's some exceptions, obviously, but a lot of times it's like rights have been shifted around. There's certain companies, you know, I could name a few that buy up, you know, old intellectual properties and make money off of it, and they had nothing to do with it, right? So there's a lot of that. So that's, you know, that's kind of for your own self to decide how to look at. I mean, for me, it's kind of, I see certain examples that can go both ways as far as the way I'm going to think on it, right? It's possible to lose online gaming privileges. What? So, okay. All right. I don't really understand that, but all right. Most of the time, the game won't even work. How do they know? Have they gone through and pirated a bunch of games? They didn't work? That's the thing that I don't understand. Most of the times, the game won't even work. Where's the statistics on that? Provide me with the evidence, right? What games are they talking about? Current gen, retro games, you know, shit from a year ago. What are they referring to here? I don't know. That's why I was kind of like, I was confused with this why pirating is bad post from them. But then I saw this other one. The iiRcade versus the Raspberry Pi, which should be more specifically saying versus RetroPie. But they're just saying Raspberry Pi, even though Raspberry Pi is used for tons of different things, education, a lot of stuff like that, STEM activities. There's a lot of things that Raspberry Pi is used for. People use it for different projects, smart devices they use it for. Raspberry Pi is not just an emulation machine, but I guess, you know, in our circles, that's kind of what it's looked at, right? For the, you know, the most part, like, hey, we're going to emulate games on this, right? So the verse is here, like, boom, the fight is on. iiRcade runs on its own system. Raspberry Pi does not replace your system. What the hell does that mean? I don't, like, what does that even mean? The iiRcade runs on its own system versus, like, being imaginary? So the Raspberry Pi may be a figment of my imagination. I don't understand that part. Whatever, right? They're both, like, you know, with retro games anyway, like, emulating them, right? Like, that doesn't, like, I don't get that. The iiRcade, see, okay, they spell it iiRcade right here, but then it's double iiRcade, double the iiRcade, iiRcade. I don't, what the, how am I supposed to take this shit serious? How are you supposed to, like, push me away from, you know, piracy is bad, like, you know, get that printed on a t-shirt, right? The iiRcade's an easy setup of about 30 minutes. Okay. I mean, I would imagine you already got games on there. You just plug the bitch in and start playing, but maybe it takes 30 minutes to do that. I don't know. Time consuming and complex for the Raspberry Pi. Just depends on who you are. Some knuckleheads will take, like, you know, that. Here's the thing. I don't mean knuckleheads. I do mean knuckleheads, but, like, if you're a person who's really digging into it and working through a project and creating an image, putting everything together, testing everything, you're going to spend a lot of time. Now, if you're just somebody that kind of knows what's up and downloads an image and throws it on an SD card, you got it. You know what I mean? And then there are the knuckleheads, which that's where I was going with the knuckleheads, that will overcomplicate everything. and they know they could do it, but they just want to overcomplicate it to make it seem like it's a bad option. And there's a lot of people out there who are like that. There's people who will take their time and do it right. There's some people who just want the shortcut, just download an image, throw it on, and get gaming. Hey, and that's cool either way. You know what I mean? I've done both. I've put together my own images and I've used other images. But, I mean, okay, point for the iiRcade. Every game is fully licensed for the iiRcade. The Raspberry Pi ROMs can be illegal, can be liable for lawsuits. You will get your ass sued if you're playing these games on the Raspberry Pi instead of paying the money to buy the iiRcade. With fully licensed games, that means we support developers. We've already talked about that. ROMs mean not supporting hardworking developers. I mean, are we supporting the guy who made the game 30 years ago? In some cases, yes. Some cases, yes, but some cases, no. We look forward to expanding our library and making games affordable. On this post, they like hashtag Raspberry Pi and whatnot. I thought it was kind of hilarious, but man, a better comparison here as far as the iiRcade versus something would be taking the iiRcade and actually comparing it to other products that are on the market. The Arcade 1-Ups, the Ass Games Legends Ultimate Machine. Compare it to those. Why aren't you comparing it to those? Why are you comparing it to a $35 device? What they're doing here, which is stupid as fuck, is they're advertising piracy. They're saying, hey guys, this is the way I look at it. They're saying, hey guys, instead of buying our product, you could buy this. Because now people are like, you know, the people who are like, don't know anything, they may be like, what do they mean Raspberry Pi? What is that? Somebody who's never heard of it before. Maybe they start going through the comments, hear people talking about RetroPie. They're like, what is that? Oh, it's real cheap, and you just put an SD card, micro SD card in there, and you could play thousands of games on the cheap on your HD TV. I guarantee you, with this kind of nonsense, people are looking into that. They're advertising for it. People are going to be like, you know what? I'm going to buy me a Raspberry Pi. I'm going to start Google searching this stuff. I might look up some YouTube videos. I'm going to get this going. Forget it. I ain't buying this. Why not compare yourselves to somebody else? You have to go toward the easy target, which, how is it even an easy target? It's just a target that a lot of people, it's the target that's free, that just cost, the initial cost is just buying the cheap device in order to do this, right? Their biggest thing is like, it's complex, right? It's complex. The games, you could go to jail. You will go to jail if you use the Raspberry Pi. These guys are out of their mind, man. Their product looks cool. Don't get me wrong. There's a lot of knuckleheads out there who are going to be like slobbering all over this stuff, and that's fine. You do you. You do you. But yeah, I mean, your marketing needs some work here, iiRcade. Peace out, guys. Catch y'all later.